Introducing a keynote conversation with James Corden, interviewed by Deborah Birnbaum, executive editor, TV, Variety.
Who was that?
The voice of God.
Jeez. How are you? I didn't realise it was quite this fancy. I wouldn't have worn such a bold cardigan.
We love the cardigan.
Well, should I tell you about this cardigan? I've only worn this cardigan 3 times, and the last time I wore it was on a flight back from London the other day, because it was on the top of my suitcase, and then I just bumped into someone who was on that flight, who must now be thinking, geez, he loves that fucking cardigan.
It's a great sweater.
It feels too bold, Deborah, I'm going to be honest. I've gone out on a limb. I didn't realise. I should have known. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I think it's good.
I should have worn a jacket. That's what I'm saying, and I'm sorry, and I apologise.
I think it speaks to your personality.
In a way.
So what were you thinking when you were watching those clips? It's been an incredible 2 years. There's a lot there.
Yeah, no, there is. I guess yes. Well, mostly I was thinking, why aren't there other clips in there? Mostly I was thinking there should be different clips of different bits, but that's just also my, brain. But I love watching it. I love seeing those bits like that. It's, I don't know, just doesn't, it feels like the show that we always wanted to make, which was to not make a talk show. You know, we wanted to make, in its truest sense, however hard it is to do it every day, a variety show. We wanted to make a show that one day Variety would invite us to talk about.
Nicely done. I like the plug.
Tune in! Exclamation point. We wouldn't tune in if it wasn't for that exclamation point. That's the fact.
We're subtle about it.
Yeah. Tune in!
So you just got back from London. How was the trip? Was it what you thought it was going to be?
It was great. We had the best time. We really did. It was hard. It was really hard. I mean, our whole team worked. I think we all did about sort of 20 days straight without a day off. And it's a really hard thing, particularly with the budget constraints of a show in a time slot like ours, which we just wanted to make what we felt were the best examples of what our show could be. And I felt so proud of the shows that we made there. Even the show that went out on the Monday, which we'd shot kind of a week before, of like, we really did. There wasn't a second of any of those shows that we didn't think and overthink and think again. You know, like our Monday night's show of going live to my parents, being at the venue, and then during the chat asking Gordon Ramsay if he could give me and Reggie a ride to the airport, him saying no, him driving us to the airport, checking in, ending the show with the last 10 minutes on the plane, sat in a packed aeroplane, and then the next time you see us being in this incredible building in Central Hall, Westminster, and opening the show with so many different moving parts in it. I felt very, very proud of. I feel proud of the show every day. But those shows, the response from those shows, I think, felt like we had been justified in trying to be quite so ambitious as we were. Like just our numbers on YouTube and stuff like that, and things were kind of incredible in the last week.
And given everything that was happening in London, it certainly must have been an emotional trip for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I sort of, it was strange. When we went there, we had this idea for it to do. We were going to do this opening of the show set to, such a silly idea, set to Thin Lizzy's The Boys Are Back in Town. And it was going to be the Cordens back in town. And it was me walking around like I fucking owned the place. And loads of people in London just not giving a shit. And we'd shot maybe, I don't know, like 60 or 70% of it. And then on the Saturday, we heard this terrible news. And it was like 2 weeks after Manchester, which we'd also sort of spoken about on our show. And that was, I don't know, a month after Westminster. And so immediately, of course, we were like, we have to change the opening of our show. We have to think of a new way to approach this. And and try and make our show a celebration of defiance, if you like, a celebration of what is the best thing I love about Britain is its sort of stoic determination. And that's what we wanted to say. And so, you know, we opened our show on, you know, in this sort of almost kind of one-shot opening, talking about why we thought it was important to make a variety show right now in London. I felt very proud of every second of those shows. I really did.
What was the response in London to the shows?
Oh, it was amazing. It was great. We were very fortunate that Sky One, who the network in the UK, who I make another show for, had sort of part funded our trip there, and you know they were over the moon because I think we had like 4 times the average viewership of any other night that year. Like in a weeknight, it was 4 times the average of that, and then the show I think rated really well here, and we had like we only really look at our YouTube numbers. Was that a mocking grin or a? No, you're right. We should all just be looking at the old ones. We only really look at that, and because that's the only number we feel we can ever adjust. Like no one turns the TV on at 12:37 at night. No one changes the channel at 12:30. I mean, I was thankful for the jet lag because I was able to catch the show when it was on. Do you know what I mean? I'm our show's biggest fan, and I can't stay awake for it. So the only number we can adjust, and actually the truth is that YouTube number or just that online number, whether it's you're looking at Facebook or whatever, it's the only true number for a show. Because what's the point of these shows? They are there for relevance, and relevance alone, and that's what they're about. And so for us, the good just rises to the top. It's like oil and water. It's cream. It's the only number where it's not reflective on a big sports match or a big 8 o'clock drama or what the news is. It's reliant on whether people search out your content. And last week we added, in 2 years we're the 3rd most subscribed television channel in the world, and like conventional television channel, and we added 271,000 subscribers to our channel, which I think is 50,000 more than any other late night show combined. And that's the only number we can go for. It's the only number, because it's the only place we feel like we can really move the needle for our show, you know?
So you really don't look at ratings?
I don't know how many people watch our show. I've no idea. I don't. I mean, and the reason I don't know that is because I imagine it would depress me, you know? Because we put a lot of work into this show. We never ever stop just trying to create stuff and create new stuff and think of what is the newest thing we can do. What is the thing we can do that people would never expect in a show like this? Like when we did that Carpool Karaoke with Adele, which has been viewed like 100 and... No, don't do that, Deborah. Don't clap it. It's
Sorry.
But it's like, that's been viewed, I think, on YouTube alone 160 million times, which is like, I think, more than the Super Bowl. So there's 160 million views on that, and that's not even including Facebook or anything else. And we felt so proud of it. And the only thing that annoyed me, because I'm not from here, I only just moved here, was people that wrote things like, how did a 12:30 show get Adele? And I was like, what world are you living in? What world are you living in that you can't see that this is a thing which moves records? And the greatest thing about these shows now, the greatest thing about late night is that you don't have to choose. You used to have to choose a host and stick with it. And now you can choose all 6 or 8 or however many there are. You can choose them all and go, well, I can watch this person at lunchtime, and I can watch this person on the train on the way home, and this is the person I'll watch when it's on TV. And that makes it an incredibly freeing time to be just trying to create a new show every night. It makes it actually the most exciting time because I think without the internet, to put this level of work, to put this level of stuff in, I don't know if it wouldn't become sort of slightly demoralizing.
Okay, so speaking, so speaking of Carpool Karaoke, you're about to launch that on Apple Music. Talk about that. What's that going to look like?
Well, it's going to look very similar.
But
Very much a car.
But how much? Thanks.
Some
but
GoPros. No.
How much are you going to be involved in it?
I'm in a couple of episodes. I've shot a couple of episodes, and I think I pop up in a couple of others. But it's originally I think they ordered. We talked about doing 12, and then they ordered 16, and we've ended up making 20. Just because so many new people kept cropping up, going, well, we really want to do it, and we have quite strict rules on our show with regards to Carpool. Like, we've only done it 3 times this year. And the first one we did this year was like a month ago. So our rules are they've got to be big, established singers and stars. They've got to have hits, and I've got to be a fan, and they've got to have enough songs to sustain it, you know. And so we would get, over the last year, we would get a lot of like movie stars that, don't get me wrong, would rate brilliantly, and we would have massive uplift from it when huge movie stars go, oh, can I do that? And we'd go, oh, no, you can't. And it's tough, it's hard for our show. But the truth is, the really important thing, when you happen upon an idea like that, the important thing to do is to try and protect it for as long as you can, and try and keep it within its own restraints. So, you know, there were times where I'd be devastated. I'd be like, I'd love to do it with them, or the cast of that, or whatever it is. And so when Apple came to us, it felt like the right fit, because we're so aware that most people watch it really on their phones. It felt like the absolute right fit of worlds, and it being Apple Music, and we thought, well, hang on, we could actually open this out. And there are people in the series that I would 100% do it with, but then there's other pairings that you know we just we couldn't do on our show. So it just opened a world for a whole new raft of carpools, really, and they're really fun. I can't really get my head around what it is about that segment that engages so much with people, that they love watching it so much. I mean, there's a humanizing aspect to it. But the thing I'm most proud of, the ones in our show, are obviously the songs are the glue that hold it all together. But actually, the thing that I'm really proud of in them is the interview, because I feel like what makes a good interview, if you see someone in a manner that you'd never seen them before. And I think in that environment, in that stripped away, sort of personal, humanizing environment, you get to see a side of someone that you didn't perhaps see before, and I'm really proud of it as a segment, and I'm looking forward to the Apple show launching. I think it'll be good.
So what is it about you that you think makes people trust you, that they're willing to get in the car with you?
I'm a very considerate lover.
And a good driver.
I am. Never let it be said. I'm light to touch. I don't know. I mean, look, the truth is, the segment in itself is just the thing. I mean, in all aspects of our show, it was interesting then watching, like, that sort of clip of that Crosswalk the musical thing we did of Grease, which was the first time we'd ever done it, that Grease one, which just was such a silly idea. It's such an utterly ridiculous idea to try and perform a musical on a crosswalk while the lights are red. And I sort of play this egomaniac kind of director who believes that he's doing something of real importance. And then as that segment has grown, suddenly more and more people go, oh, well, I'd like to do that. So the first time, like, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne did it, and we did The Lion King. And then Then the cast of Beauty and the Beast came and did it. And then just last week we did Mary Poppins in London with Sir Ben Kingsley playing Bert. Now, if it didn't exist as a thing, there's no way Sir Ben Kingsley is taking that call. But the truth is, making these shows, that trust just comes from time. It just comes from time of people going, oh, okay, no, I get it. I've seen that. I get it. I'm in with this guy. And we never want to be a show that ever excludes anyone or really mocks anyone or is perhaps snipey about anybody. I just don't think that's who we are as a show. It's not who we want to be, and it's not who we ever will be. So as soon as you build that trust with people, it becomes so much more creative in things that people want to do.
I think that goes back to, remember when we sat down when you were first launching the show and you were coming up with the idea of the couch and having all the guests come out at the same time, and publicists weren't so thrilled with the idea, but then that really seemed to work because I think they got to trust you in the way that was going to be the way the show was going to work.
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't know when because late night shows aren't on in Britain where I grew up, and I'd watched quite a lot of Letterman when I was doing the History Boys on Broadway, and so I thought I understood what it was. I realise now that I probably didn't. But our sort of feeling was, we can't just make the same show again. We need to make you can't say on a television schedule, you'd never go from 8 till 9, we're going to have a hospital drama, and then 9 till 10, we're going to have another hospital drama with the same diseases. Do you know what I mean? So we were like, we have to make a show which feels different, which feels like it's different, and we knew that we were following David Letterman for his last month, and then we knew that we were going to follow Stephen Colbert's show, and we sort of felt like we knew what Stephen's show was going to be, that it was going to be probably a political show and a talk show in this sort of realm. So we were like, well, we have to sit at the other end of the seesaw to that, and that's why we sort of wanted to bring all the guests out together so that it felt like it would just have a sense of organic conversation, that if you're watching at home, you would think, oh, I'd love to be there on that couch, that it never felt like, so tell me your 3 funny stories about that time you went to Venice. And they would go, well, it's funny, I've just got back from it. That hopefully it would, you know what I'm talking about, talk to me about turkeys. Well, you'll never believe it. I just got a turkey. Like, we wanted it to feel like it was an organic, ever-moving. Like, my favourite nights doing the show is I will sit down with a card that will have, 6 to 8 questions on it, which are all areas where we know we're going to go. And my favourite shows are the ones where we get to 3 of them. And it's just taken on a different thing. And the greatest moments are when you get, you get Bradley Cooper sat with Elizabeth Banks, and he goes, really? That's what you do? I've never done that. And she goes, you've never done it? And suddenly, as an audience, you're like, oh, I'm watching these 2 people who are huge stars just being the most open versions of themselves. Okay. I think that's the end. I think that was the end of what I was trying to say. I think.
Good. So you've announced you're going to host the Grammys again. What did you learn from the first time that you're going to bring to the second time?
That you're not in it very much as a host. Pretty limited time on the old hosting there.
Did you have fun the first time? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful look. It's mind-blowing to me. It's ridiculous if you think about it. If you can't. It's inconceivable to me that I would be hosting the Grammys. All of this is inconceivable to me. Sitting here doing this, it's all so silly, really. Because I'm from High Wycombe, and like the school I went to in High Wycombe is like, when you're at school and people say, oh, what do you want to do when you're older? Like, people would say, oh, I want to drive a van. and our teachers would go, no, at this school, you don't drive a van. You're the guys who put the stuff in the back of the van. Like, that's where I'm from. So there is not a minute of every day that I don't get in my car and drive down Sunset Boulevard, and you know, my children are thriving here, and my wife is so happy that I think, well, I don't know what I've done to deserve such memories. I don't know what I've done to deserve such incredible memories in my life, because that's what it feels like every day. I feel like every day these are things that one day I'm going to look back and go, oh my word, we did that. That was crazy. And the Grammys is just one of those things, you know, and like doing the Tonys last year, like it was inconceivable to me I'd ever be able to host the Tonys. Like, you have no idea what it means to me to do something like that. And next year in New York, like, what is it? Is it the 60th, the 70th? Something like that? I know it's an if.
It's an if.
I know it's a zero and an if. I don't know. Is it the 60th? Is it the 60th?
Yes.
You know. I can tell by your face that
She's confident.
you are a lady who knows her shit. No, she is. She is. She's got here early. She's got a plum spot. Front and center of that table. How do I look in these photos? I'm worried. You're taking a lot of photos. Can you just do something about this, Eric? Hang on, do it again. Let this be the one you use. So but all of it is great. Like, you know, and I'm excited for the Grammys next year. I'm excited to just be in the room, you know. And I've started trying to think about how we could open it, how we could kick it off. But the most important thing with a show like that is to understand, however hard it is for my ego, to know that it isn't about you as a host. You are literally there for the person at home. And the important thing is to not really try and play that room, and to just try and be the person for the person in Michigan, Detroit, Chicago, wherever it is, to say this is a show, and try and bring a bit of lightness and levity to a show which you know, I think perhaps needs that at points. So that's what we're going to try and do, and I really hope we can come up with a fun opening for it. I'd love to try and nail what it is to be doing it in New York, you know.
I'm confident you will.
Well, that makes one of us.
On top of everything else, you're doing all this producing. You've also got the Drop the Mic spinoff. You've got the Snapchat show coming up. How do you find the time for all of this?
It's very straightforward. You just sort of go to work, you know. It's not... I don't know. I keep meeting people who go, God, you must be so tired. And I think, well, I'm not down the mines, you know. I'm not... I'm not, like, you know... My fucking cousin's tired. He's a bricklayer. Like, come on. You know, I don't know. I consider it an absolute privilege to be tired. I think it's a genuine privilege. If it's something like, look, I'm so well rewarded. This is a very expensive cardigan.
It all comes back to the cardigan.
And I'm very well rewarded for such work. And I look, if you'd have told anyone in this room, like 2 years ago, this guy's going to host the Late Late Show, the first thing you would have done is Google who the fuck is James Corden. And then you'd have said, and in 2 years you're going to host the Grammys and the Tonys and have a show on Apple Music and a show on TBS, and we're going to do this thing on Snapchat, and we have 3 other shows that we're developing, Ben Winston and I and our company, Fullwell 73. We're very good. We're like, you know, we don't really want to stop. I've no interest in going, oh, well, this is great. I'm doing this now, and who's on tonight's show? And we'll carry on, you know. Like, I really want to... I don't want to look back at any of this time and regret any of it. Like, you know, well, I got offered this part in this film, Ocean's 8, which I shot at the start of this year, and like it was hard. It was 2 weeks before the Grammys. We had to pre-shoot a week and stuff like that. But actually, I was like, I want to experience all of these things while I'm here, because I'm gonna wake up and this will be just gone. Like it'll just be a different, like as quick as it arrived, it can leave. And I don't really want to look at it and go, I wish I'd tried harder. I wish I'd given it more, you know? We just really feel so committed to trying to make the best variety show we can every night, and we think we know what we're good at, and I think we're going to try and keep trying to do that wherever people will let us be creative, safe in the knowledge that some of it might not work. But that's just the nature, but you know, that's the difference between doing something and not doing something is doing something. And I don't really care about being tired, because I really like it. And it's sunny here. Try being tired in London when it's dark. It's dark when you wake up and it's dark when you come home. Also, once you've done a play 8 times a week, like we did 492 One Man, Two Governors in 18 months. I'll never be as tired as that in my life. Like, that's a tiredness I never want to experience again. Like, that hurt my body. This is like, look at this, look what we're doing. What day is it? It's a Tuesday. We're in the Four Seasons, you've got a coffee, I've got a water. You've got a face, I've got a face. This is wonderful.
Well, unfortunately, we've got to end it there with these faces. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, what a pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everyone.